We want to do what's best for patients, but ultimately what's best for patients is to get new drugs approved so then, thousands and thousands of patients get access to those drugs.
We've also heard and discussed a lot about the role of crossover in trial design, and this has been coming up in terms of a difference between the two trials. So certainly ASCENT-03 allowed for crossover because of the availability of sacituzumab govitecan, and as you mentioned, the OS benefit. So I want to come back to your point there, whereas TROPION-Breast02 by default could not allow crossover, because we do not have datopotamab deruxtecan currently available or approved yet in the triple-negative setting. But TROPION-Breast02 did allow for subsequent ADC. So perhaps tell us a little bit about what crossover means when we're interpreting the data and whether or not we can accurately interpret a longer-term endpoint like overall survival when you allow for crossover.
Yeah, I think honestly this is something that we always have a little bit of friction with, right? Because we want to do what's best for patients, but ultimately what's best for patients is to get new drugs approved so then thousands and thousands of patients get access to those drugs. So absolutely correct with datopotamab deruxtecan. We didn't already have overall survival for that trial set. So crossover was not allowed, meaning that people that were on chemo did not get provided dato immediately afterwards. And so that really enabled us to look at overall survival in the trial. No surprise, that was positive, which is fantastic news for patients. The reason the sacituzumab govitecan ASCENT-03 trial made a different choice was because they already had overall survival in the second-line setting. And so they weren't going to be held to the same bar with regulatory authorities. And so honestly, what they decided was 100% the right choice. It was the right choice for patients. They should allow crossover. And in fact, their drug is available, in that second-line space. They already have overall survival. And, previously we've seen about 80% of the patients did do that crossover. So very high. We're not talking about, 20% of patients went on to see ADC. Universally, patients received that. So I did not anticipate that we'll see overall survival with the ASCENT trial. We shouldn't expect it, and they went into that knowing it. So I think it's very important when we compare.
Yeah, totally agree. I think from a patient-centered care perspective, it's really great that ASCENT-03 allowed for crossover. But I like how you put it. We're conflicted with the scientific side, where we, of course, want to really try to minimize confounding variables. Ultimately, though, I bring this up because I think it's important. We all talk about the pitfalls of cross-trial comparison, but in a setting where you're looking at trials where one allowed crossover, one couldn't, I think we have to be very careful now about cross-trial comparison.